Hello, love. Welcome to Transmission Tuesdays here on the Libran Key. These are messages of a transmissional nature for the highest and greatest good of the ELSH collective, empaths, lightworkers, starseeds, and healers, awakened and awakening souls. Know that if this message has found you and or if you have found it, that there is something here for you. That is always the intention that I put into these messages. Family, thank you for being here. And if you are finding this message for the first time, a very warm and loving welcome to you. Commander Ashtar coming through for this Transmission Tuesdays message, along with the Venusian Galactic Council of Light, the Venusian Galactic Council for the highest and greatest good of humanity, to talk about discernment. We're working with messages of discernment again. Okay, I'm just going to pause very quickly on that note because I also want to remind you, if you have not taken the poll in the community page with regard to the question that I had asked there, the inquiry, putting it to you, family, to give some feedback around what is sort of your biggest concern at the moment, or the thing that is really, what's the word that I'm looking for here? Kind of top of mind for you at the moment, okay? Please go do so. I will link the community page in the description box below because I want to give that poll a little bit time to run. Thank you, each and every one of you. For those of you that have already responded and left comments, I'm going to be getting to them within the next day or so. And also, I'm going to be posting another poll as well. But I also want to throw the ball to you now in a way, and perhaps you can respond by responding in the comment section below of this video with regard to what you feel is sort of the thing that you most resonate with on this channel. If you've been here a hot minute, you know that this channel is in service to the highest and greatest good of the ELSH collective, empaths, lightworkers, starseeds, and healers, awakened and awakening souls. We deal with a range of issues or topics here, right? I wouldn't even say issues is a good word for this, but things that are coming up, because this is all about the ascension, expansion of consciousness here on Momma Gaia. Those of you who resonate with doing mission work, all of the above. And I just want to get a little bit more feedback from you, because I'd like for this to be more of a conversation than a one-way street with regard to what's really resonating with you on the channel. What's really resonating with you? Is it Transmission Tuesdays? Is it Feeling Fridays? I have put a hold, side note here, on the life path number readings because I've just had a lot of transitions taking place with regard to messages wanting to come through. And also the fact that what I'm finding with some of the life path reading videos is that I really want to make them specific for the ELSH collective. And I know that not everybody necessarily who has been responding to those videos feels perhaps like they're part of the ELSH collective. That's the feeling that I'm getting. So I might be fine-tuning those to be very specific to the ascension process, to the mission work, to the evolution of our soul's growth, expansion of consciousness here on Momma Gaia. I'm even considering doing a kind of form of select an energy card, something with regard to supporting us on our ascension journey. If that's something that resonates with you, please include that in the comment section below. You can go ahead and do that if you feel comfortable doing that. I invite you to. At this point, believe me, I'm making sure I'm checking all the comments so nobody is coming in here with disrespect. And I will also include a poll for that as well, okay? So thank you for putting up with these last few minutes of housekeeping, but this channel is evolving and things are changing and energies are shifting, and yeah, we're all in this together. So having the feedback from you is very much honored, very much taken into consideration, but a conversation has to happen for us to do that, right? So I thank you for that. Okay, getting back to this energy again of discernment, messages of discernment. Commander Ashtar wanting to come through for this message because, interestingly enough, I'm just going to touch upon this very briefly, but if you've gone down particular rabbit holes, you may have come across information regarding Commander Ashtar that seems compromised, okay? And I'm putting that in quotation marks, compromised. Because there is a lot of varying interpretations out there with regard to galactic energies. This is very differently from Star Trek in it being the final frontier. This is the entirely new frontier that we are in right now. And more and more, once you begin to sort of start on this ascension journey and this intuitive journey and this remembrance of what it is to be connected, to connect to the divine, to connect to galactic energies, to understand energies in general and remember what that is, especially being an empath, Lightworker, Starseed, or Healer. It can be a little tricky sometimes, and this is why discernment is really important, okay? Now, that is another reason why it's very important to always create sacred space whenever you are meditating, praying, connecting, asking for guidance, okay? Asking for truth, all right? And one of the things that is really unfortunate is that there are certain energies, everything from angelic energies to galactic energies, that have been interpreted in a way that can be very confusing and have been interpreted in a way, 3:33 on the clock as I say this, that unfortunately itself has been compromised, okay? Now, without getting too cryptic and convoluted here, unfortunately, Commander Ashtar is one of those energies. And even the Galactic Federation of Light, for that matter, which I personally have not connected to, okay? I don't work with or connect with the Galactic Federation of Light. My connections have been very specific from the beginning, and I have always put the intention forth and followed my discernment with regard to what is in the highest and greatest good, not just of myself connecting with these energies, but of humanity as a whole, and in the highest and greatest truth, God's truth, Source's truth, okay? So, having said all that, without getting too off topic here, because this Commander Ashtar doesn't like to take too long with these things, and he likes to keep it as simple as possible for us so that we're able to get a grasp on these things. His energy is a very interesting mix of a cross between Archangel Michael and the Venusians. For me, that is how he comes through. And there is there's a deep patience with him, a clarity, an almost stoic quality that comes through, because he feels incredibly ancient in terms of galactic time. He's been around the block quite a lot, and he is no stranger to misinterpretations or compromised interpretations of not just his energy, but various energies. And part of that is also a way that we are challenged. It's interesting because he's showing me that this is all we go through these different challenges with regard to what to believe, okay, with energies, especially once we start opening up to galactic energies. We go through this process as a way to hone our own intuition. So we come across information that's always here to serve us, no matter what. Even if it's information where perhaps you've been connecting to a certain energy, and then you come across something, you go down a rabbit hole, and you come across something that says, well, this energy is not good. This energy is compromised in some way. And then you begin to question yourself. You begin to question, am I doing this right? Am I doing this correctly? Okay. This is where your own discernment must come in. Always in alignment, he's showing me with your intention, with your purest and truest intention. Okay? Bringing it back to source energy. Bringing it back to love. Bringing it back to the ultimate, highest, and greatest truth. Okay? So for this specific message, he's also showing me how discernment is all-encompassing. That was exactly what I heard at the beginning of this, because each and every one of us employs different, he's almost showing me aspects of our energy, whether it's mind, body, spirit, it's all of it. It's very multidimensional is what he's showing me. Discernment is multidimensional in the sense that there is discernment of the gut, there is discernment of the sacral, there's discernment of the womb, there's discernment of the third eye, there's discernment of the heart. We can't necessarily place discernment in one particular spot. He's showing me that that's a kind of consciousness that is very two-dimensional. And I mean that in terms of perspective, okay? When I say that, that's the energy that he's giving me coming through, because he's showing me literally just seeing something written flat on a page versus something being, you're able to see it from various points of view, right? In terms of a three-dimensional object, okay? It is multi-dimensional. Now, for this particular message, he wants to speak to discernment of the gut. And I'm bring this beautiful Pyrite sphere energy in for this, okay? Because we've spoken about this before with regard to the energy of the solar plexus being compromised. I give props to Sarah Acaldi for this, because it was the first time that I ever heard anybody word it that way, and it pinged for me so much, especially as empaths, because what he's showing me is empath energy is like a sponge in many ways. But again, we don't want to stick on to just this sponge concept, right? It is more than that. But an aspect of the empath energy is its ability to be very sensitive, like feelers is how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing little like tentacles, kind of like a jellyfish or an octopus, right? These kind of tentacles, these feelers go out with empaths, and we very unconsciously can absorb or pick up on energies. And if we are not fully embodied, is what I'm hearing, or uncompromised in the solar plexus, we can begin to think that those energies are ours. And that's where we begin to make decisions that aren't necessarily ours. They're coming from another energy. They're coming from energies that we're picking up, especially with regard to how we're raised, what we heard growing up, programming, indoctrination. You get the drift, right? So one of the ways that, and again, going back to this energy that he's always bringing through about this higher consciousness of it is all serving you, all these experiences are serving you. There's an energy here of transmutation of those experiences through awareness, okay? Now, I do want to make a quick little side note here as well on human design, which I think is, again, I have only scratched the surface of human design. It is fascinating, okay? But one of the things that I think is really a really fascinating very enlightening aspect of human design is understanding what your authority is. Okay? Now, you can, I can't remember the name off the top, I think it's Jovian Archive, if I'm not mistaken, but if you're interested in looking into human design and finding out what your authority is, there are various resources online where you can input your birth date information, time of birth, place of birth, just like you would an astrology chart, okay, and discover your authority. And when I did this, I had so many like aha, ping, ping, ping moments, okay? And I will be getting to that generator video, I will. I want it to percolate for a little bit because I really want to give it the best that I can. It's probably going to take about 5 days to a week, I'm guessing, for me to do that, but I will be getting to that, okay? So this authority of the gut, okay, is very connected, or I should say this discernment of the gut is very connected to that sacral, and I would even say solar plexus authority, because we're dealing with that area here. We're dealing with those energy centers. And this is where, again, somebody with this type of authority or this type of discernment is not going to function necessarily the same as someone who has, let's say, a third eye authority or discernment. However, we all will have a mix of these to varying degrees. Now, I'm going to bring the energy back of Pyrite here, okay? This energy is very much connected to the solar plexus, okay, and this gut energy. And for the sake of this reading, we're going to talk just a little bit about that, because this energy is a very visceral energy. Commander Ashtar refers to this as visceral discernment. So this is the kind of energy, and I just want to bring in that frequency here with this Pyrite. This is the kind of energy that is very much connected to the body. And I'm getting a lot of Mars energy coming in with that. And I think Mars is going into Cancer tomorrow. Yeah, just looking at my, that's interesting, because Cancer is an energy that's very sacral. Mars is moving out of Gemini into Cancer. So today essentially is the last day that it's in Gemini, which I think is kind of interesting. That energy is sort of coming in to show how sometimes this instinct can work differently. He's almost giving me the analogy of a planet in a different sign. And you can kind of look at discernment the same way. Discernment, let's say, being the planet and the sign being the energy center predominantly that you work with, right? So somebody who's very clairsentient is going to feel a lot of discernment in their body. But we also have to be careful, again, of a compromised kind of discernment of the body. If you've experienced trauma, if you have anxiety, if you're dealing with stress, if you're not taking care of your body, you can compromise your own discernment. So he's really wanting to get back to the basics here of the body. And this is something that I feel that a lot of people have just simply been overlooking the last little while. But I find that these ascension symptoms are making people actually pay attention, which is kind of a good thing. Like, again, it's happening for us, right? When we have to tend to our body, we are forced in a way to really connect to it again, okay? And with the, ascension symptoms, dealing with the Schumann resonance up and down, having to tend to our bodies, changing the food that we eat, right? That was a message that had come in like a few months ago. It's all part of the process of honing our discernment. So he doesn't really want me to go any further than that. I am going to pop some cards for guidance here moving forward, because this is something that we will be getting into, I think, a little bit more in depth, looking at it sort of step by step. I'm going to be asking through the Terra Originale 1909 about this discernment of the gut, okay? He's also showing me the simple act of tuning into your, the energy of the solar plexus on a daily basis, if this is something that resonates for you, okay, where we are working on this energetic center, we are feeding it energetically through meditation and through various exercises that focus on strengthening this energetic center. This could be through simply feeling the energy as it gets stronger, as it pulsates, using your breath to direct energy and light there, okay? I'm also getting the energy of grounding in that as well, where we will perhaps do a meditation focusing on grounding that energy into Momma Gaia. I'm also getting the energy of again, physically getting in the body, physically exercising, walking, doing something to get in the body, practicing yoga poses that help us to hone the center, okay? To, like, I'm seeing a lot of like squatting kind of poses and energies of like the goddess poses and things like that, even though that also works. It's interesting how they're all kind of connected to these 3 lower chakras, okay? This is the discernment of the body, essentially, is what he is saying. And he really wants to highlight that for this Transmission Tuesdays message, okay? And I'm going to end it there. We may expand on this moving forward, but he really wants to keep this particular video and this message really short and sweet, and also to invite you, even if you feel, this is interesting. So he's inviting each and every one of us to experiment with connecting to this center in order to gain more clarity on whether this is actually a very active center for us. And I feel like, in terms of discernment, and I feel like he's going to want to bring, some kind of either guided meditation or activation through for this. And that could be something that we do that's on the next Transmission Tuesdays message. It might be something that wants to come through for that, or something separate in and of itself. I will see. We will see moving forward. Okay, so the Hermit coming out in reverse. Yeah, so in order to be able to do this, he's showing me that this is not even necessary to be done only in meditation, only when you're alone, only when you're in stillness. He's actually showing me connecting to this energetic center as you go about your day doing what you're doing. Now, in yoga, when we flex our pelvic muscles, the rectum, sex organ, navel, that's called Mula Bandha, right? Especially with the navel moving in. You can try right now, wherever you are. But he's showing me that as a technique. When we squeeze that belly button up and in, we pull the pelvic floor up. That's a way to engage this solar plexus. It engages all of those 3 centers, right? But throughout the day, that's simply a way to kind of connect and get grounded again. He's really bringing in, and I feel the energy of Archangel Sandalphon too with this coming through, really bringing in this energy of grounding and how being grounded is so important to being discerning, okay? Wheel of Fortune coming out as well. Something with this is happening energetically across the collective right now for this Wheel of Fortune to be coming out. Interesting. 4 of Pentacles. I'm going to do one more card here. It's funny because this 4 of Pentacles is actually coming through. Yeah, more in terms of making sure that you're practicing healthy boundaries, again, with regard to your own physical body and understanding your physical body, creating, because 4 is really coming through here as the number of foundation, of having a solid foundation. And it is Pentacles energy, so we're talking super solid here because this is the earth element. Okay, 10 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And we also have the Fool card come out right at the end, okay? What's really interesting with the Fool card, what he's showing me here is this energy of the Fool trusting their gut really being reflected in this yellow, and the Sun, which here is actually white, which here is representing divine consciousness. And this full circle, we're kind of coming back to this whole, this is really interesting. I'm getting with these two a message of how when we're tapped in to our discernment, we transcend linear time and we are able to tap into the all that is, the cyclical nature of time, the present moment, and thus be more discerning. This had come through another message with regard to when we're really feeling centered in our light, when we feel like we are in that Sun card moment where we know exactly who we are, we know our truth, we speak it, we are like a child in that way. There is no indoctrination, programming, mental confusion getting in the way, okay? And we just act from this place of knowing. We know who we are. We know what we need to do. That is discernment, right? So he's showing me this as that particular combination. I'm also hearing knowing when to make the right move, because the Wheel of Fortune is constantly turning, right? Knowing when to make the right move. Now, what's funny is that even though this card is usually a card where we see kind of like a blocked heart chakra, what he's showing me with this is other centers of discernment. That's what he's showing me, represented in the Pentacles. And he keeps on coming back to this energy of being grounded, of making sure you're tending to that, okay? In order for it not to feel like it's a burden of spirit. It's interesting because that 10 of Wands is actually coming through more in terms of the mental body creating a burden of spirit. And you know, when you take a look at this 10 of Wands, right? This guy cannot see where he is going. I mean, who holds wands like that, right? You know, it's like, interesting. I'm actually hearing that song, Blinded by the Light. Blinded by the light. I can't remember the rest of the words. Something, a runner in the night. Interesting. Like he's running in the night, like he can't see, right? Interesting. I feel like that's a whole other message that wants to come through, because some of us might be feeling like we're in the dark. Like, where do we go next? Like, I don't know. Start small is what Commander Ashtar is saying. Start small. Start by getting back into your body and doing these simple practices, okay? Get into your body and out of your head, okay? I'm going to end on that note. Feels like a longer message wants to come through here, but I'm going to end it there because, again, he wants to keep it simple, bringing this beautiful pyrite energy back into this space now. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Commander Ashtar. And thank you to this beautiful Venusian energy for coming through for these messages. I thank you for being here, sharing your time, your energy with us in this space. I'm sending you so much love wherever you are. Please remember to leave comments below. Thank you for all your likes and your comments. Sending you so much love wherever you are. In love and liberation always.